simultaneously, when I touched the keyboard, when I touched the button on the screen, I thought I triggered something. I mean, that's just, by virtue of what took place.
Yeah, that was probably just a coincidence, because when I was covering a Bilderberg group meeting a few months ago, right as I go to open the door to go back in the room, and there was a TV crew inside, right as I open the door, right as I start cracking it, the alarm goes off, and I'm like, my God, what did I touch? I started saying, Rob, what did you touch? But it wasn't that. It just so happened to happen right as I turned the door, right as I swiped the key, and right as I pushed it down, it happened. So you hit the keyboard right when you get to work, boom. Okay, continue. You're at the Pentagon. Supposedly an aircraft just slammed into it.
Right, and of course, being on the inside, there were no alarms, no hints with everything that was going on. And they're always watching, news around the world 24/7 in the Pentagon. There were no alarms, no hints, no warnings, nothing. So, that was another, wow, how come? And of course, I came to, and we got out of the debris, and I lost my shoes, and I bring this part up very crucial because I walked barefooted out with my son. And I didn't see, various types of debris or, anything to that nature that would cause me to think, wow, that wasn't a bomb, that was a plane. So I was quite surprised. And then when I was told, and as I continued to relive the incident, I tried to see how was it possible. I tried to rationalize the situation after I was given the information.
Yeah, let's go back and walk through this slowly. I mean, describe. You're in there with your newborn baby. You've just brought him into the Pentagon. Right as you sit down to go to work, a huge explosion. What are you seeing in there? I mean, you described not seeing plane debris or luggage or people or anything. What are you seeing? I mean, there's images of inside the Pentagon where it's just sheer blown out and cut, and there's still computers and desks sitting there untouched, but the plane just disappears.
Right. I mean, you could see that you could see where the inside the computers, they were still burning. I guess stuff, I don't know what the inside of the stuff in the ceiling was. That it all came down. There was still some office, I don't know if it was desk, equipment, whatever it was all piled on top of each other. So it seemed it was more like we were blown and then covered under just debris. The metal desks weren't moved that much from what I saw, but that was it.
Now, you were right along the line of the explosion there. Your office from that outer ring, where was your office along that line of the first several rings that got penetrated by the projectile?
Right, we were right there, what they would consider as the ground zero. We were in the first corridor E ring, 5th floor. So
you had an outside seat then. You were right up on the edge of the ring.
Right. So we were right there. I don't know if, I try to rationalize it. The black save us when we got blown a little bit. I mean, I really don't know.
But you didn't see any aircraft or any smoking aluminum or any dead bodies burning up. It was just, in fact, how big were the fires? We have the video of it. They look pretty small, and it's pretty clean, 16 foot.
They weren't, I guess when you're trying to get yourself together, maybe in the beginning it might seem that things seemed a little bit exaggerated because, again, you don't know what's happened.
Oh, no, it was terrible. You're in there in a big explosion.
But, right. You hear this baby crying. You're wondering what's going on.
Thank God your baby was okay. I mean, how'd your baby do in all that?
Well, again, it was rough, and in the beginning because he was so young, and his head was all soft and tender. So there was that period we went through with that. But again, he had stopped crying, and so that's what made me get out from under the debris. Because the other young lady that was in there, she's like, get your baby. And I'm like, oh, that's my baby. Because, you're out of sorts. You're present, but then you're not. It's like it's real, but then it doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
So,
Now, where did you climb out? And then after you climbed out, did you see the entry hole of the weapon?
Technically, they're claiming that the area that we came out of, that we walked out of, was supposed to have been this was the, trying to think of the name of the office that did the scaling of where everybody was located. They said what we came out of was the entry hole. I don't know. I know I came out of a big gaping hole, and when I came out, it felt like, somebody had taken a hammer and beat me from my head all the way down to my body, and so I collapsed on the grass.
Now, how big was that hole?
It wasn't that big. It really wasn't that big.
Big passenger liner. I mean, even if it hit, its engines would have hit, 20 yards out, 15 yards out. You would have seen those smash up or make holes, but it didn't. It was just this 16-foot hole. And, later they came in and dumped sand everywhere in front of it to make it look like it was worse. And you got some spools there, and the grass is doing just fine. And you climb out of this burning 16-foot hole, and then later they spray water on it, and the top collapses in a little bit. But still, that's only about 20 feet across.
Right. But even, when I was coming out and I was about to collapse, they grabbed me on both sides of my arm, and they caught Elijah. But then the guy who had my right arm, he went back in. So I said, wow, how was he able to do that? Was that jet fuel? And, based off the, official story.
And this is just a few minutes after it happens. There's people...
right after.
And there's people just going in, but the jet fuel burned and melted all the plane and burned all the bodies. But they're just going right in there. It's no problem.
Right. I mean, back and forth.
Now, yeah, please continue. April?
Yes?
Okay, I was saying please continue with your story.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear you.
That's okay.
And so, again, it seems real, but then it didn't. But it was, a moment, and it was a very pivotal moment. And I spent a lot of time trying to comprehend the whole situation. But I wind up being at a local hospital. I did wind up eventually going to the hospital, but they separated me and my son. And later that night, or maybe it was after midnight, or maybe early that next morning, somebody brought my wallet. And in my wallet was my ID card and my son's ID card. So then they brought they put us together. But we were still in this triage-type setting because it was a room full of other people. And a couple of hours later from that, not that I was keeping up with the sense of time or anything, someone came in, and that's when they said, do you know what happened? And I said, well, no, not really. I thought maybe I triggered something. And then they said, this is what happened. And then that was it. It wasn't like they were, how are you? Are you okay? How's your kid? I mean, it was nothing like that. It was just more of, this is what happened.
Well, April, I want to go over the story very carefully here after the break, and we really appreciate you joining us. But did you know now there's all these videos of minutes after the towers fall of guys in baseball caps professionally walking around saying the same thing about, well, the plane went in with all that jet fuel and went out the other side, and it caused such incredible heat on the structural, weakened the girders, and it fell from structural weakening, of course, but said it all professionally. Then the news all repeated it. And now we know at the Pentagon and at the World Trade Centers, guys would go around saying, this is what you saw. You didn't see bombs going off. You didn't see that. And with Building 7, they told the cops, you didn't hear us say we were going to blow that up. So when we come back, I want to specifically go back in every detail you can tell us about who this person was, how they were dressed, what they looked like, what they said to you. I mean, imagine you're laying there in a bed. Why should they care about somebody at the Pentagon who her and her baby were hit? I mean, they know it's a plane. Everybody knows, Why go to an eyewitness and say, hi, you're awake now, dear. Let me tell you what you just saw, okay? Let's get this real straight right now with you. Just like they had all the guys on the streets giving a same script out. And BBC reporting Building 7 had fallen exactly as it did later fall 25 minutes before it fell. Both BBC channels and CNN. I mean, folks, the facts are the facts. They did it. That's how dangerous these people are. We'll be right back with April Gallop and tell you the rest of her story. She needs our support.
Are you tired of hearing that a cure for cancer is coming, but it will be available